difficult. At times we can get them from outside, but to reach, you find that at the same time is not available because of getting it from South Africa or from Germany. And matter of handling, you have to handle it very well.
The National Animal Genetics Resources Center and Databank has handed over 100 assorted superior dairy breeding bulls to farmers who are members of dairy cooperatives across the country. The initiative will increase development activities that enhance animal genetic improvement and productivity by farmers at the grassroots.
You only need three things in the farming class. The first one is good genetic material. It's not good enough to have many cows around. It's what you get out of these cows that is very important. You have one cow is giving 40 liters. Is eating 6 tons of feeds. Another one has the cow is giving 10 liters. Is eating 6 tons of feeds. Pregnancy is 9 months. Are you in the same business? You are in the same business, but classes apart.
The new board members have been urged to desist from corruption in order to uphold the agency's code of conduct.
Issue of corruption, don't attempt, because Nagriki will be very small for you. Because once the government institution is corrupt, it means indirectly you are saying the NRM should seize power. Therefore, you are not my best friend, and you are not my friend anyway. Therefore, time, no corruption.
We succeed if our staff are doing what they are supposed to do, and we'll continue to maintain target setting, consistent appraisals, and making sure that we have staff that are innovative so that we can be able to succeed at what we target to do.
Dairy breeding facilitates faster growth, increases milk production and milk solids, eases calving and longevity in the herd, thereby improving the economic well-being of the farmer. Charlotte Amoge and Juma Samba for UBC News.
64 additional local businesses have been considered for seed funding worth 4.8 billion shillings under the National Social Security Fund's High Innovator program. This brings the total number of businesses that have benefited from the program's seed funding to 306 since its inception in 2021.
After a rigorous pitching process and the announcement of the potential seed capital winners in the NSSF Mastercard Foundation High Innovator Program, the companies await the due diligence process before they receive 75 million Ugandan shillings seed capital.
So our program essentially is to try and get businesses to be more formal so that they can contribute to NSSF. And if they contribute to NSSF, that means that more people will have a chance of having a retirement income. When you formalize your business, you find it easier to raise money, to grow your business. You find it easier to get systems to support your business. And that means it's easier to employ people and pay them well.
Look at businesses that have not raised more than 1 billion in terms of grants or investment from any financial institution or development partner. We look at the potential to employ young people in the businesses. We have looked at businesses that are not sole proprietorships. We've looked at businesses that are run by at least 2 individuals actively participating in the businesses. We've also considered their registration status in Uganda.
The mood was celebratory for many selected businesses. The third cohort included sectors such as agriculture, digital economy, light manufacturing, waste management, website and app developers, among others.
I'm so happy because it has opened that's our mileage into business, and I promise we are going to work hard and we are going to improve more because there are not many Ugandans who have forming factories.
We are told that I think originally we are 322 and then 200 and 10, so you can imagine Even as old as we are not eliminated because of our age or what. We are competing with these young people.
It is going to help us a lot. Our farm is located in Ruwero, Misanje. The area is dry and we have asked for an irrigation. So when we get an irrigation, definitely it will improve the quality of our fruits and the production.
Now in its third year, the program has helped create dignified and fulfilling work opportunities among youth and women, but this has not been without challenges.
It is expensive to grow businesses this way, so we want to find a way of digitizing the process first of all, but also democratizing it. Can we get more universities to help in this process, more enterprise support organizations to help, but also getting more grant support in? So that is the main challenge. The second challenge, of course, is policies. Businesses come in, they have to pay tax, they have to pay things like that. And that is still difficult for a very young business. So can we get a policy that helps startups to grow faster?
Over the years, honestly, we've seen an improvement in the quality of entrepreneurs. And I think it's because now the entrepreneurs and the market are starting to understand what we look out for in terms of their level of readiness. So we've even had some entrepreneurs self-select and say, I am not ready for this call, but I will apply for the next opportunity. Most importantly, we've seen that we need to double down on helping them access markets better in terms of how they really distribute their products and push them out to market.
The High Innovator program aims at creating an ecosystem where indigenous small and growing businesses can be supported to mature into viable businesses. So far, 18 billion shillings seed funding has been provided. Dennis Igoa for the Business Roundup.
Farmers in Uganda have been urged to intensively invest in commercial agriculture in order to attract investment and increase their market access. The call was made at the second annual Farmers Symposium hosted by Uganda Breweries Limited.
Agriculture is integral to Uganda's future. It is the country's most important export sector, contributing nearly half of the total exports and employing about 7% of the population. However, there are obstacles to diversifying the sector, and they include the limited availability of finance and investment, high interest rates, poor agricultural practices, and limited access to use of quality agro-inputs, among others.
Access to cheap credit is not possible. So your smallholder farmer cannot get the money easily because he doesn't have the requirements that the banks want. On the other hand, the guy who has the ability to give you the money quickly has very expensive money. So it's a really tough challenge for the rural farmer, who is the majority, and therefore it becomes very difficult.
No one does business in agriculture at the interest rate Uganda is offering. No one will be able to do it. Not even at 10%. Let us not kid ourselves. So we need negotiators. Farmers, you need to negotiate with government and banking. No one does business. If Uganda's economy, as you are talking about, is agro-based, and I believe it's so, we need a different conversation and a different discussion.
The second annual Farmers Symposium held by Uganda Breweries Limited therefore seeks to create mutual collaboration, policy alignment, and foster economic growth within the agricultural value chain through its Farm for Success program.
A farmer to be successful, one, he needs the technical skills. So what to do, where to do it, the extension services, yes, but also the origin, the seeds. Are you getting the right quality of seed? Because you can start with the wrong seed and it doesn't matter how well the extension services are executed. So we start with seed, and for that we are working with government institutions like NARO.
We are saying that if you have more land, then you can engage in extensive agriculture where you can grow products of strategic demand. For example, sugarcane. For example, maize. For example, cotton. That you can only break even if you grow on large scale.
To ensure the program's success, the public has been urged to invest in commercial farming in order to increase the sector's investment potential.
It is very exciting times. I think we want the youth to come in. We want the women to be fully involved. We want people with disabilities included in this journey. And we are going to transform step by step, grain by grain, farm by farm.
The Farm for Success program seeks to impact the lives of 50,000 farmers growing specifically sorghum, barley and corn by 2030. Charlotte Amuge for UBC News.
The killing of 2 tourists and a tour guide has sent shockwaves in Uganda's tourism industry, with many operators registering cancellations. In this exclusive Zoom interview, I talked to John Hanwick, the director of Rwenzori Trekking Services, which has been operating in the Rwenzori region for over 12 years. Good afternoon, John. Thank you for honoring our invite to speak to pertinent issues concerning the tourism industry, particularly at this time where we are facing a number of terror activities, especially in the Western Uganda. How has the recent security situation near Queen Elizabeth National Park and the activities of the ADF rebels affected your tour operations and the safety of the tourists in the region? Would you kindly enlighten us on that front?
It's affected us very badly. After the massacre in the school, we had a lot of cancellations, a lot of people were fearing. And remember, they're going up in the Rwenzori Mountains up to a remote area. So they're quite aware of that and they're quite sensitive to that situation. Of course, we get a lot of questions. What is the security like? Are we safe? What, which is normal. And you've got to consider that these people are going into a remote area. They're climbing for 8 days and it's rather remote. So the chances of backup is minimal. Then it was starting to pick up again in the last few weeks and we're getting some good bookings for December. Not good, but at least better than what we've been getting. And we are hopeful. But when this happened the other day, this unfortunate situation, people are just cancelled outright. We got one postponement and then the others have cancelled because I can understand them being scared.
So can you provide us insights into the safety measures your company has put in place to protect the tourists who visit areas near the border of Uganda and the DRC for that matter, given the ongoing conflict with the ADF rebels?
Well, of course, all my guides and staff, the porters and everybody are very aware of the situation and they're always vigilant in looking out for any signs. We constantly talking to them that if they see anything suspicious, please report straight away. And also UA has been exceptional. They're ever having patrols up in the mountain. UPDF are often up there with patrols as well. So we're all collaborating and I think the mountain is rather secure. I can't say nothing will happen, but I highly doubt it. And not only for the patrols, but for the other reason, the terrain. On the Congo side, the mountain is very steep and it's not impossible, but it's very, very difficult to climb up from the Congo side. And it's steep. So that is also a geological barrier to anything. They would rather go down to Queen Elizabeth or to the north of the Rwenzoris to do their horrendous acts rather than face the challenge of the mountains.
Okay.
We've never had any problems up to date, and that's mainly because of that terrain barrier, the geological barrier.
Okay. So, John, you mentioned that this scenario has affected tourist bookings in the region due to the security concerns. But I would like to know, what steps are you taking to address these challenges particularly?
Well, of course, we're talking to security. It's really up to security to do the needful. And as I said, they've got patrols, and these last few days they've greatly increased the patrols. They're not finding anything, but they have to be vigilant and keep patrolling to make sure that they pick up any possible insertion.
Okay. So then, are there any specific guidelines or advice that you provide the tourists with before they embark on in regions with potential security risks? And if so, what are they?
The first thing is we're always honest with them. We tell them what it is and let them make the decision. I believe in honesty, and people can tell when you're honest. But in the mountains, it's had a record of being quite safe. It's not been a problem in the past. But of course, we have to always be vigilant and watchful.
So thank you very much, John. We really do hope for the best for the tourists that have come, and also that you continue collaborating with the security forces to ensure that all goes well. Otherwise, thank you very much for sharing your insights. We do look forward for any updates on your side. The Central Corridor route has received a massive cargo transport boost. This follows the rehabilitation and commissioning of 20 flatbed wagons financed by the Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency, headquartered in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Uganda Railway Corporation has commissioned 20 rehabilitated flatbed wagons. The assets, financed by the Central Corridor Transit Transport Facilitation Agency to the tune of $300,000, will be deployed to the Central Corridor to help boost bulk cargo transport.
It's a worthwhile investment because seeing these back on, I don't know whether these people have the photographs of what they were before and what they are now. It's a worthwhile investment. One time I was asking, I was talking with the former MD, I was asking him, why all this garbage and scrap in the rail yard? Then they told me, no, in the railway industry we don't have a lot of scrap. What you see as a scrap, just give us money. You'll see it function. And that's what we see now.
The Executive Secretary, CCTTFA, Advocate Florio Kanju, says the 5-member country organization is committed to easing trade and improving cargo traffic by enhancing efficiency.
And it is our hope that it will decrease a lot the price of good here in Kampala because it will facilitate the smooth moving of cargo from Dar es Salaam port to Kampala.
While rail covers the stretch from Dar es Salaam port to the port of Mwanza on Lake Victoria, the mostly roll-on, roll-off cargo is loaded on the ships plying the Mwanza Port Bell route.
We are directly improving the capacity to serve the nation better. The wagons will be deployed on the Central Corridor route on Lake Victoria.
The new development has been welcomed by the business community, who had raised concerns of the route's limited assets.
And I'm telling the importers, or Uganda importers, that Central Corridor, so many things has changed a lot on the ground.
The cost is an issue for us as business people. We believe that when the cargo handling is doubled in terms of how much they can bring in and how much they can take out, that kind of efficiency and the velocity, the cycle of how movements are, will eventually bring the economies of scale to lower the rates that we are being charged at the moment.
The Central Corridor prides in two of the most affordable means of bulk transport, rail and water. The task now is increasing visibility and business.
When we use water, you know, in water there is no traffic jams. You know, in the rail there is no traffic jams. So it will help us a lot to reduce the congestion on the road, to decrease the budget of road rehabilitations, but also some pollution.
Dennis Igoa for the Business Roundup.
This we consider to be of immense importance to Africa, because one of the major challenges has always been in the area of transportation, in which case people fly out of Africa to connect flight to another African country. You travel out of Africa to Europe to connect flight to an African country. This is ridiculous. But today gives us hope that at least better days are ahead.
I would like to emphasize that in order to make the Nigeria-Uganda route more open, accessible for passengers to and from Eastern and Western Africa and beyond, two other cities in Nigeria, Abuja and Kano, have equally been approved as entry points for Uganda Airlines. This is in the spirit of Single Africa Transport Market, SATIM, and the Yamoussoukro Declaration.
Flying to Mumbai or Dubai, you don't have to go 10 hours across the nations. You just come to Entebbe, 3.5 hours, and you're in Dubai, another 4.5 hours. So your 15 hours of a flight are cut. If you're going to Mumbai, you're in Entebbe, 3.5 hours, 1 hour in transit, then you have another just 6 hours into Mumbai. So we have closed the gap between the East Africa and the West, and it's very exciting.
These efforts are in line with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs policy of pursuing commercial and economic diplomacy with the primary objective of further strengthening bilateral relations and trade, investment, primarily to accelerate economic growth and development through direct air connectivity between Uganda.
It's unfortunate what happened to the tourists and their tour guide in Queen Elizabeth National Park. And that is why we implore you all citizens to be vigilant, working closely with both community members, leaders, and the designated security operatives in your area, because money runs away from any place that deems insecure. Otherwise, thank you for joining us on this episode of the weekly Business Roundup with me, your host, Wadulo Mark Arnold. Catch us on the next, same time, same place. From the team, we must say good night.